And understand, none of us have PhDs or nothing, but we got PhDs tonight, goddammit. We are therapists for the night.
What we have is better.
For tonight, we are therapists. Yes, we are.
What we have is better than any PhD you could ever find. I mean, this is real life experience talking right here.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's like, if I don't care all the education you have in the world, if you have not experienced it, you're on the outside looking in. You can be educated, and you can teach somebody, educate them about flying a plane, right, and teach them everything there is to know. But until they start to practice flying, they're not going to really be able to really fly. You can teach them with all the little gadgets, doing all that stuff, but if you put somebody that never flew a plane in a commercial airline and have them fly 300 people to Alaska, that will probably be their last trip. You know what I mean? You need to embrace knowledge from people who had experience. Not to say, like, don't go to a therapist. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, you have to appreciate the information coming from people who are experienced. So don't just, dismiss it if it's not coming from someone who's college educated or whatever. Because people like us, we're the people that can tell you the realness.
Right.
You know what I mean? Straight from a regular person like you are with the experiences. And that's what our goal is tonight. We here for y'all. We don't want to see y'all go through the painful experiences that we went through. You know what I mean?
Right. And what you're just talking about there, that what I found is a term called validation, which all this stuff, I never really even thought about these words. These are all words that were unfamiliar to me. But by the end of my relationship, I felt so invalidated that when you talk to someone now that's experienced it, that's what you're really getting from them is validation, that, hey, you know what, you're not crazy, and no, that wasn't okay. And that was really important, and I think that's why it's important to be selective in who you talk to about this, because your coworker, your brother, whoever, they probably don't understand, and it's gonna further that feeling of invalidation. So I got really lucky with the therapist that I found. I went and saw a couple of therapists, and they didn't do it for me. I knew they just didn't get it. And then I found a man here close by, and he was good. He understood, and he right away quickly saw the truth in my situation and was very validating. So that was helpful for me. I got lucky because a lot of people don't get that lucky with a therapist.
That's definitely true. You might want to, that's some good information right there. You might want to try a few. You might try one therapist and be like, the therapists don't understand. I can't go to a therapist now. You might have to try a few. Right.
You need somebody who really understands these personality disorders. And, and the other side of that, we've talked a little bit about it, these terms being loosely thrown out there, you got to be real careful and make sure that this is what you're dealing with, because you don't want to just brand somebody as a sociopath or a narcissist, and like I know people now, another term is OCD. People throw that term around pretty loosely, and it's like I see the people say, "Oh, I'm OCD," and then you look at their house and it's like, "No, you're not OCD at all." You know what I mean? So I think it's important to not just loosely throw these titles around.
I definitely agree, because it's not about the title. It's really about the experience in which you're going through.
Very much, yeah.
That's why we're saying personality disorders. I don't know if you're borderline, you're a narcissist, or a sociopath, or psychopath. God damn it, you probably all of them. All I know is you're driving me crazy, and I can't take it no more. That's where we usually are with it.
I say that in my videos. I don't care if you call it the goddamn common cold. I don't care what you call it. It's these symptoms. I don't care what you call it. But like you said, when you first get out of one of these, you're looking for answers, and you wanna understand. And so, for me, I would just do a Google search. I'd look up something that she was doing, and then it would bring up certain conditions, certain personality disorders. So I kind of got on this path of just looking up different ones, and then you find the one that fits the best, you know. And so it was important to try to wrap my head around it. You know what I mean? At first, now at this point, I don't care what you call it, but I think that's an important part of it. You're trying to understand, why does this person do this to me? What is it? What is this?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Here's what we want to do. And you know, Trent, we talked about this. We're going to go through some key traits that fall under what these people with personality disorders do, the things they push you through. I'm going to read the trait, and then Trenton, you go in and kind of discuss it a little bit, like, well, what that means or how they might behave based on that trait.
Okay, I'll do my best.
Oh, no, you're good. So I know that people will get a lot out of this, that's for sure.
All
right, let's start off with controlling. And I know it's kind of self-explanatory, but we're going to still break it down anyway. Controlling. What is it like? What is it like for them as far as the control?
Yeah, and I think controlling is a huge point in all this, because what I've found is ultimately that is their goal. They are trying to control everything. They're controlling in every way. You know, I'm gonna talk mostly from personal experience, because I think that just works best. Controlling. I had an experience once with my ex. She was folding some laundry, and you know, I'm trying to be a good husband, and I think, oh, I'll help her with the laundry. So I got up with the best of intentions, and she was folding towels, and I grabbed a towel and I started folding it. She yanked it away out of my hand with a disgusted attitude and like a sigh, and refolds the towel that I just folded for her. You know, instead of, you know, and she tells me how I'm folding the towel wrong. You know, and I just kind of reacted and said, you know, there's not a right way and a wrong way. There's your way and my way. But I said, that's fine. I'll never fold another towel for you. You know, I mean, it's things like that. It's the littlest insignificant things. If a person's doing something kind for you, who cares how they're doing it? You know, that's not the point. So I couldn't fold a towel right. There was one time that I've talked about in my videos. I went to get a glass of iced tea. You know, I'm not thinking anything of it. I get the iced tea and I put sugar in it, and I'm putting sugar in and I spill some sugar on the counter. I go to grab the rag to wipe up my mess, and she comes up to me and shoves me out of the way, treats me like shit, and can I say that word on here?
Oh yeah. We are uncensored.
Okay. You know, belittles me, treats me horrible over an accident, you know, over spilling some sugar that I'm going to clean up. And, you know, when I question her, why are you doing this, then it was my fault because I overfilled the sugar container. So, you know,
wow.
And then what they're doing is creating an environment where you're walking on eggshells. And that is a term that when I heard that, when someone said, when you catch yourself walking on eggshells, the hair stood up on my arms, man. It's like, gave me goosebumps, because that's exactly what I experienced. Controlling it's a constant conditioning. You know, you're walking a fine line. It's like you're always doing this dance to try to keep from upsetting them, because they make life so miserable if you upset them. When ultimately you can't avoid it. They're going to lash out. They're going to act the way they do. But they are conditioning you to walk this perfect line that they want you to walk. And they create that environment in many, many, many ways. You know, I could go down a long list of stuff, but bottom line, if you feel like you're being controlled, you're being controlled. You know, it's like I had certain friends that were, you know, one female who was a really good friend of mine, but this wife of mine had a major issue with me being friends with her. So next thing you know, I'm not friends with her anymore because I don't want to upset my wife. And this was a good friend. You know, if you're having to give up your friends and can't go do what you want to do, I mean, I'm talking within reason, you know. If you're not doing anything wrong and you find that suddenly you're having to conform everything in your life to try to please this person, time to get out.
Mm-hmm.